Welcome back to a live reading of The Effigy of Love, as written by Tony Sherblom and read by Juho Hankela. This is Chapter 17, The Trail of the Twin Stars. Not long after Endrik had shed off the grey did dawn, that ever-curious beauty, slowly peek over the horizon, careful not to interrupt the lovers. There, on top of a verdant hill, she found Endrik laying in deep slumber, the boy exhausted from racing across the sky for an eternity. No matter if she wanted to or not, the radiant orb rose higher and higher until reaching the peak of the bluest sky, where she rained light and warmth upon the world. Endrik woke slowly, dazed and confused by the brightness around him. He lifted his hand and shielded his eyes from the blinding light, and the instant he noticed the unfamiliar surrounding, he sat up straight and stared in awe at what the light revealed. Hills upon hills of the greenest grass lay around and beneath him, speckled with the yellowest dandelions and the pinkest clovers swaying in the gentle breeze. On his left lay a large lake as blue as his cloak, the rays of a golden sun, the sole resident of the sky, bounding off its surface like a heavenly mirror. Endrik's eyes grew wider by the minute as he gazed upon this new world. He had never seen such vibrant colors in all of his life, not even at his favorite place on earth. This new world, his new home, was like a ballroom where all of the world's colors had come to meet and dance together across the canvas that was life. Each and every color Endrik knew made its appearance around him, and some he had never even met before. "Who are you? What should I call you?" Endrik looked down at his hands as he slowly ran his fingers through the grass. The soft, emerald carpet tickling his palms made his eyes pool with tears of joy. Then it hit him. He hadn't seen her anywhere. Looking around, desperately hoping to find her somewhere close by, fearing he had been left alone in this new world, he found something else entirely. Behind him was something that made his heart shrink inside his chest, something that started draining him of joy and color. "No, you're not welcome here." Through a large, celestial window behind him he saw a desolate wasteland, like a mountain that had been leveled to the ground, dark shadows skittering across the surface like maggots on a corpse. Smoke and ash floated weightless, hopeless in the wind. Endrik felt the pull of the grey. The change did not approve of him leaving it behind. Alas, the grey had not been invited and never would be. Endrik had had enough of the grey. He had stripped himself of its taint and left it all behind him for a reason. Thus he quickly turned his back to it and feasted his eyes upon the lively vibrancy that lay in front of him. Oh, how beautiful this world was! Try as he might, it was beyond comprehension in its presence and embrace. Surely it must have been paradise, God's own garden, a place where all colors had fled to hundreds of years ago when the grey started corrupting mankind with its ugly cruelty. And now Endrik had been welcomed here as well, wherever and whatever this place was. Home. A most familiar voice echoed around Endrik. His eyes widened, and the hint of a shiver rippled through his body as if he had taken a plunge into a cold lake. Hand on his heart, he replied, "Yes, home." As he did, he shut his eyes and unlocked the box he had kept hidden within him for so long. The lock opened with a reverberating clack, and the sweet memories of his old caretaker escaped from its confinement through his eyes in a river of tears of both unimaginable sorrow and relief. He had succeeded in taking his old maid with him after all, to forever live her afterlife in what could only be described as heaven. Myrtle's last caress on his cheek felt wistful yet warm as she floated into the arms of God. Not a dozen heartbeats after Endrik had unlocked the box did another feeling wash over him. But this one was the polar opposite of the wistful feeling recently felt. This one was far more enjoyable, the reason he had wanted to leave the grey in the first place. With the widest of smiles carved onto his face, he took a deep, greedy breath and felt her rush past his lips and settle next to his heart. He wanted nothing more than to hold her within him until he expired, never let go, and forever be as one. Alas, such things he needn't do, nor even think ever again. They had finally reached their destination, their paradise, and were both safe and far away from the grave. "I'm ready, my love. Take me home," he whispered, as he slowly let the breath out, feeling the pull of her song grow stronger as it picked him up from the ground and guided him deeper and deeper into the unfamiliar land. With a merry gait they pranced together, feet rustling the blades of grass underneath, hand in hand, fingers locked, and the key thrown away, their laughter echoing all around them. It felt good. No, better than good. Divine, to finally be able to share the laughter and simply bask in another soul's presence. The twin stars were closer than ever, radiating in their beauty, watching him from merely an arm's length away, running over him lustfully as they smiled, pulling him closer and closer as they danced together. Forever. It was over. Hendrik would never again carry unnecessary burdens on his shoulders or secrets within his heart. The green of the hills, the brightness of the sun, and the love of his life seeped in through every pore, cleansing him of the last shreds of grey as he became part of paradise, his new home. As their feet danced across meadows clustered with flowers, a gathering of stone and wood suddenly came into Hendrik's field of vision. A village. Feeling a heavy weight swell inside of him, he hesitated and stopped. Everyone else he had ever known, except her and Myrtle, had been filled with viciousness and hate, a grey rot. Now that they were finally free of it, the thought of running down another cobblestone street underneath scrutinizing hazy eyes made Hendrik want to melt and flow into the ditch. "I thought we'd be together, alone, for eternity." He spat and struggled against her pull. The rumble of thunder echoed in the back of his mind, yet barely had he finished these grey thoughts before the residents of the village started spilling out into the street to meet the new residents. Hendrik watched in awe as their joyful song grew louder and louder, embracing them both and sweeping away the storm. Hendrik's face lit up again as the stone rolled off his chest. Oh, such wondrous beings they were, those that joined the two lovers as they walked down the street. The residents flowed like rivers of color and song without a trace of grey in their eyes or souls. Each one was as beautiful as a flower in bloom, smiling, warm in their embrace and endowed with angelic voices that harmonized with the lovers' song as they joined them in revelry. Each color humbly presented itself and welcomed the refugees, before they, one by one, joined the lovers' dance. And what a wonderful dance it was! Each resident, even the most recent ones, left their footprints over the stones, red, blue, yellow, all the world's colors mingling shyly before blending into a beautiful mixture that were the true colors of their souls, their love. In a matter of minutes, they were all wading in a vibrant sea of joy that had painted the cobbled streets and their feet. In a matter of minutes, they were all wading in a vibrant sea of joy that had painted the cobbled streets and their feet, lapped against the walls of the houses, and finally spilled out into the meadow where the flowers drank in the love around them. Hendrik was completely awestruck. Not in his wildest dreams, even as a child, had he seen this much vibrancy around him. Truthfully, he hadn't even imagined that the world contained this much color and beauty. Then again, this wasn't the world he knew. Another reminder that he had made it. As he danced, smiling from ear to ear, singing louder than everyone else, he heard a voice floating on the wind, calling his name, popping the bubble of reverie and seizing his attention. It was a familiar voice, yet one he had never heard speak before except to his soul. Turning around, his eyes indeed fell upon her, love incarnate, hidden behind a veil of gold and green. Her lips wore the most heavenly smile as they moved slowly, and again he heard his name, followed by the words he had so desperately longed to hear all his life. They floated easily on the wind, entered his heart, and plucked at its strings, made his world erupt into a million more colors. To think those few words could have such an effect, yet were so rarely uttered. It was a bittersweet truth that made Hendrik shed a tear, as he replied dreamily, "And I love you." The fire in his heart roared. His whole being felt as if it would melt. Unshackling all of his impatience, he darted toward her, open arms, stepped through the veil, and succumbed to her love completely. Hugging her tight, he drank in her presence and filled his lungs until they almost burst. Breathing out, he watched the twin stars twinkle before their lips connected. He felt her colors seep between his lips and down his throat, as her love settled around his heart like bands of gold, wrought and bound tightly, to sit in place forever and ever. The dream was over. Having become reality, Hendrik felt his eyes burn, and 2 gray tears streaked down his cheeks, one from each eye. Her warm, soft hand wiped away the tears, and in the process erased the last of the gray from the world, turning his eyes as blue as the sky. Now, Hendrik was finally free, to be who he had always wanted to be, or rather, was free to be the man he had been all along. "May this moment never pass, my love," he whispered, as he wrapped his arms tightly around his savior.